Great. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone, and welcome to the first Global Town Hall of 2021. As always, it's great to gather in this way at the start of a new year, so welcome. I'd like to take this opportunity at the top of our meeting to thank everyone who participated in the fantastic Black Domers discussion last Monday. I thought that was an extraordinary gathering of our community. And I was, as I said at the end, both heartened and encouraged by our great discussion as a group. And I just wanted to follow up on that here at the start to say thank you to those who wrote to me with additional comments or reflections about ways in which we can all be more involved to promote equity and inclusion on campus and wherever we are in the NDI network on behalf of our students and faculty and in commensurate with our values and mission as a Catholic university. We will be moving forward with the committee. Many of you have already volunteered to be a part of that. There's still time if you would like to be involved in imagining how NDI can continue to tackle these issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Please use the project board as we talked about. I also want to thank those who signed up for some of the projects that I put on with regard in particular to Native American populations on campus. We too will be gathering soon. So if you're still interested, there's still time to get involved. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome a couple of guests that you may see in your on your screen in the Zoom room. Welcome to Chiara from Rome. Welcome to Lois from London, and welcome Curtis from campus, who's part of pre-college programs. The reason that they're here will become evident as we move forward with our program, so let's get to it. As usual, we begin with the headlines, and I'd like to turn it over to Reagan. Reagan, good evening, and it's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. The Beijing Global Gateway has been supporting the Greater China Scholars Program, Notre Dame's premier merit scholarship program for international undergraduate students, by facilitating the organization of various GCS activities in March. BGG has also been partnering with the Notre Dame Law School to advance its graduate student recruitment in mainland China by connecting with law school alumni in the region and more than a dozen Chinese universities with leading undergraduate law programs. Last but not least, BGG is launching the Research and Partnership Incubator Program that invites Notre Dame faculty, researchers, and the leaders of academic units to join customized private meetings with their counterparts in mainland China to advance research and partnership opportunities. Now let's hear from Dublin.
Thank you, Reagan. Today's top headlines. We piloted a research group for winter, which we plan to carry out into the future in partnership with Nunavik. We hosted our first ever Dublin Domers lecture. Kevin Whelan presented Ireland, Where Do We Stand Now? It explored the dramatic change in Ireland's economic, cultural and political history while asking where it will stand in the future in the face of such things as Brexit and a possible united Ireland. And Bryce students took part in a traditional fireside chat, talking to Maggie and Robert about Notre Dame and living in Ireland as an American. Here come the Irish. After an online recruitment last week, we are proud to say 8 Irish nationals have been admitted to Notre Dame. We kicked off our research programs this week for current Notre Dame students, including a playwriting workshop. 3 students are going to create a 1-act play and have a virtual reading by professional actors done at the end of the semester. And today's most important top headline, Laura Conlon is pregnant with twins. Yes, Laura Conlon has introduced 2 new members to OCH staff and breaking the OCH curse of only having boys. She's going to be having twin girls in May. So that's all, Kira. Global Town Hall, over to you in the studio in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Yes. Greeting from Hong Kong. So I want to report that we have over 17 students finish our VGPE in Hong Kong and different places in Asia within our global center. And then with over 10 different companies, 95% have very positive feedback. They want to take our student again. So we are planning for our, hopefully the physical GPE soon in this summer. So we have been contacting over 10 company hosts for the coming summer. And then for advancement, we are working with different manufacturer, still under the pandemic, but we are still in touch with them and trying to get the contract done. Then we also have the recent newspaper reporting showcasing our fencer from Hong Kong. So the Hong Kong newspaper recently report our Hong Kong student who went to Notre Dame and won different championship recently. Then lastly, we're planning a parents gathering for our Greater China Scholar 2 weeks later for all the parents who have been invited to the Greater China Scholar program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. First, I'm very pleased to be with you all today. I'm Jerry Sassour, Director of Finance in Jerusalem. Since the last Global Town Hall meeting, our team has continued to work on multiple projects that are already running and those that are in the making. In addition, I would like to share with you the following 3 updates. We are very honored to have Professor Sami Nusaybe as our first adjunct faculty in Jerusalem. Professor Nusaybe is one of the most influential Palestinian intellectuals. He was the PLO representative in Jerusalem, president of Al-Quds University, and is the author of multiple best-selling books. This semester, Professor Nusaybe is teaching his course, Philosophy in Early Islam, via Zoom. We hope that for the fall, he will be teaching students in person at Tantur. Our team was very glad to support 9 students in their virtual global professional experience. 2 work with Palestinian NGO WIAM, 4 work with Israeli Research Center Yad Vashem, and 3 work with us. In February, the lecture series Global Church that was organized by Professor Gabriel Reynolds and ThinkND featured our Executive Director and Director of Tantur Economical Institute. Both spoke about the Christians that live in Israel and Palestine, covering their experience and common challenges. Thank you all. I will now pass it to Karim.
So hello from sunny Galway. Despite Ireland still being in level 5 lockdown, we are keeping busy here at the Kylemore Global Centre. We've continued to partner with ThinkND in creating Kylemore book clubs, and we have our final session of our 4th book club today, titled Anticipatory Innovation, Capitalizing on Change in Turbulent Times, with Notre Dame professor Sam Miller. We've also got our final cook-along this Friday of our most recent cooking Zoom series with our very own Chef David Harrison, right out of the Kylemore kitchen. These cook-alongs have been a wonderful opportunity for Notre Dame alums, staff, and friends, family to come together online and make delicious food. We're currently working with the Notre Dame Irish Club to set up a cooking and virtual evening at Kylemore for St. Patrick's Day. Tomorrow, we're hosting a second symposium called Bishach, which is a collaboration between Notre Dame's Harper Institute and NUIG's Lamb Institute for researchers to come together and form relationships with areas of interest in cancer and cancer research. These symposiums will help to form a stronger bond between the 2 universities for students, postgrads, and staff. Lastly, we've been continuing to work with our local author and Notre Dame graduate, Betsy Cornwell, who will be running a 6-week online writing and textile art course from her home, which is an old knitting factory in Connemara. She will also be teaching from Kylemore in August. And now I'll pass it over to Tom in London.
Thank you, Zoe. We're still keeping on and carrying on here in London, and the team have been continuing to make headway on the following projects. Most recently, our team has continued to see great engagement with our 2nd London Book Club, London in Song, with Professor Ian Newman in collaboration with ThinkND. Internally, we have all been working across several agile teams, all geared towards specific projects and initiatives, which you'll be hearing a bit more about later. And finally, I cannot go without mentioning the tremendous work that our faculty have been doing over the winter session and now into the spring semester, despite the suspension of study abroad. It's been rewarding to see how everyone has continued adapting to online teaching, all of which have been achieved with active support from the academic support team in London and IT and library services on both sides of the Atlantic. Additionally, the London teaching team have also played a role in the spring 2021 Global Scholars Program, which we'll also be hearing a bit more about later. But for now, let's get a live update from Mexico.
Thanks, Tom, and good morning, everyone. Welcome from Mexico. We've been working on several projects, just a few highlights. Like many others, we participated in the VGPE program, including several placements in the municipal government of Huejotzingo. This has been an exciting and growing partnership that you will hear more about later, but also can read about on our website. In addition, Lisette in Puebla has been working with the University of Oklahoma, who also has a strong presence there. Together, we've been collaborating to think about ways to include themes of diversity and inclusion in our programming. We've also been working to recruit graduate students, most recently partnering with the law school for an event that highlighted alumni working on human rights issues throughout Mexico. We also shepherded an MOU with a local NGO and the law school to provide partial scholarships for Mexican students to pursue the LLM at Notre Dame. We hope to replicate this model with other graduate programs around the university. Finally, we're in the process of developing a research incubator. This initiative will connect Notre Dame and Mexican faculty. The hope is to seed research that can grow in the future through our Mexico faculty grant. With that, I'll pass it over to Dheeraj in Mumbai.
Thank you, Mike, and namaste from Mumbai. The spring semester has actually been a very busy time here at the Mumbai Global Center. We kicked off the semester with the School of Architecture's Mumbai Studio project day before classes started on the 3rd of February. 9 students on campus are actually preparing an urban planning intervention report and a second redevelopment study for the Mumbai Port Trust's Eastern Waterfront development. To give our students a feel and understanding of the island city of Mumbai, we developed an interactive Google Earth tool to transport our students here to the city. By utilizing this tool, our students are now able to better understand the city, walk through its streets, gaze at the beautiful architecture, and also able to interact with the diversity of religions, customs, lifestyle, and culture of the city of Mumbai virtually. This will empower them to complete their urban development project and also get a taste of the city, even though they've not been able to visit. If you want to learn more about this tool, please join Judy's Global Gateways and Centers Touchbase, which I recently with Tom coined as Journey with Judy, later in March, that she organizes for all of us. The architecture students also presented their initial urban intervention concept on the 1st of March in a presentation called Sea Level Rise in Mumbai. This is fast developing into a cross-border partnership between Notre Dame, NASA, the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, and the government of Maharashtra to understand the climate change impact of sea level rise in the city. I hope to share more about this in our next Global Town Hall. The Mumbai Global Center is also actively involved in Project Sampurna, a whole child development program for historically marginalized students in the Indian state of Telangana. Notre Dame's Global Center for Development of the Whole Child received a 4-year grant funding from the Porteous Foundation to develop a whole child development framework for over 300 tribal welfare and social welfare residential schools, primarily educating young women in the state. I'm excited about this great work being conducted by the Global Center, and I'm fortunate to be able to participate in the program. The research engagement and academic learning lecture series, or the real lecture series that I briefly spoke about in our last town hall in December, will now be launching on the 26th of March, 2021, with Professor Rahul Oka's lecture titled Lessons from Shalivahana to Aurangzeb, 2000 Years of Trade and Partnership Between India and East Africa. This lecture series aims to improve research collaboration, graduate recruitment, and academic engagement between Notre Dame and India. We have 14 lectures committed over the coming months across a variety of topics and field of study. The successful implementation that we've heard about with the VGPE continued in India as well. I had 17 students across 7 organizations, one of which was actually a virtual internship in Australia managed by the Mumbai Global Center. The success of this implementation of the VGPE program, particularly the medical internship at one of the locations in Mumbai, has led to some initial discussions with our hosts at the Cooper Hospital to engage larger groups of students, either in person or virtually, going forward. So MGC is working on a robust medical internship program in Mumbai at Cooper Hospital and similar medical research hospitals in the city for our undergraduate pre-med students. That's all I have from Mumbai. Now our road leads us to Constanza and Rome.
Thank you, Dheeraj. The Rome Gateway is currently working on the second series of the Rome Book Club, launching on March 10th. The second series, entitled Lenten Music Through the Ages, will be led by J.J. Wright, director of the University of Notre Dame Folk Choir, and will guide the audience into the world of sacred music and how the artistic, religious, and intellectual communities in Rome helped to cultivate one of the most creative environments for the development of sacred music in history. The Rome Gateway, in collaboration with the Kroc Institute for International Peace Studies and the Holy See Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development and the Catholic Peace Building Network, is hosting the Pope Francis Integral Human Development Program, through which highly qualified professionals spend a period of time in Rome working in support to the Holy See policy-making efforts. Students in the virtual practicum course offered by Sylvia will take part in a pilot research project to assess intercultural competence gains in interns with international outfits while maintaining residence in the US. The project is done in collaboration with the Center for the Study of Languages and Cultures and includes interviews and the Intercultural Development Survey at the beginning and at the end of the course. The assessment project will help determine if remote internship opportunities support the development of intercultural competence in student interns and give indication as to how opportunities and accompanying courses can be developed to promote intercultural learning. Santiago, you're up next.
Thank you, Costanza. So here in Santiago, even though we're sad because our summer is coming to an end, we have been working on several initiatives, and one of the most important, I would say, is one that has to do with preparing an application for a grant offered by the U.S. State Department that will eventually allow us to give opportunity for underprivileged university Chilean students to attend Notre Dame as part of an exchange agreement, an exchange program. We do think that this opportunity not only is very rewarding for us as a center, but also a very good, it's very well aligned with the mission and vision of the university overall. So we're really excited about that. Even though we haven't received an official approval of that, we do think that that's going to be a huge step into actually giving opportunities for underprivileged students to experience international education as a whole. We also think that this kind of grant, it's something that could be eventually, and this application in general, it's something that could be eventually emulated in other centers and gateways, because we do think that it's something that should be one of the pillars of NDI in general. So now I'll pass it to Thais, my friend Thais in Sao Paulo.
Thank you, Felipe. Here at the São Paulo Global Center, we have been helping Brazilian students to get internships, and we also participate in the virtual GP program. And now we are working on the summer GP program. In order to help Brazilian lawyers for the LLM program, we organized with the law school a virtual panel with Brazilian alumni. The future of foreign investment dispute resolution, Brazil and beyond. We also participated in the US State Department Education USA Brazil panel with other American universities, international centers in Brazil, Ohio State University and University of Southern California, on research opportunities in our respective universities. 13 Brazilian students have been admitted to ND in the early action, and we, with the help of ND parents and students, have been in contact with students and parents to answer questions and give testimonials of our students. Our center has also collaborated in the Study Abroad course 102 module on culture and cultural adjustment. Now we are planning next virtual panels with collaboration with Brazilian universities and a series on Brazil today. So next, we will hear from different campus teams, starting with Isa. Thank you.
Thanks, Thais. ISA partnered with Student Affairs to welcome 30 undergraduates to campus this spring. Through a variety of virtual and in-person events, students learned about their visa status responsibilities, access resources for living well in the US, and connect with other incoming students. We also partnered with the Graduate School to welcome 60 graduate and professional students. In both cases, international ambassadors played an important role in sharing their personal experiences and supporting students. ISSA has also processed documents for the 75 students who still did not make it to campus and will now arrive in the fall. ISSA is now juggling two responsibilities, supporting 270 May graduates who are preparing for post-graduation plans and processing admissions documents for more than 300 students expected to start this summer and fall. We look forward to continued partnership with you all in support of these students. And now let's travel over to study abroad.
Thank you, Ali. I'm happy to represent Study Abroad and report on two wonderful initiatives we have recently finished. The first is Study Abroad 102, our online course for students who are set to study abroad this coming fall semester. Our course offers students interactive tools and videos on budgeting, course registration, cultural norms and expectations, goal setting, and other topics we believe will complement and improve upon the pre-departure orientation process. The course will be made available to students on March 8th, just short of next week. The second major project we've worked on relates to scholarships for summer study abroad. For the first time, through the generosity of benefactors, we have been able to allocate over $100,000 to summer scholarships and disperse them to a total of 31 students. We see this as the first in a series of steps to help bring financial inclusivity to study abroad, and we look forward to continuously improving in this domain. Thank you for your time, and the Global Engagement Program team is up next.
Thank you, Rafa. The GEP's first virtual customized program on data science and machine learning was hosted with 28 students from Chinese partners and concluded successfully in February. We plan on repeating it again this summer. The iShore program received 135 applications representing 68 institutions in 8 different countries. We are working with departments and faculty to review the applicants, and a number of research projects will be able to host the students virtually. The ILED 2021 summer program is still receiving applications, and we plan to have a normal group size of around 30 students this summer. Our international summer session will also launch this summer with a cohort of 4 credit courses for international students, which is a first of its kind. We will ask our global gateways and centers to help promote it once a decision is made to go virtual. Now let's hear from the on-campus global partnerships and faculty outreach team.
Thanks, Megan, and hello, everybody. So the online resources for benefaction were strengthened in 2 ways. First of all, a page was added to the NDI website highlighting ways that individuals and institutions can partner with NDI, including a donation page for financial support. Secondly, a new outreach process was implemented so that personalized emails that can include video messages can be sent to thanking those who support NDI. Work is underway strengthening the Beijing Global Gateway's legal and financial infrastructure to increase revenue generating business contracts in China and expand academic partnerships. Now, as all of you know, there's always a huge arrangements going on for the Greater China Scholars Program at this time of the year and the recruiting, and that is definitely going on with Miranda at this time, while she continues to support the scholars who are here on campus and in China. With regard to research, we plan to open our benefaction-based programs in March for virtual-based research opportunities for faculty. Thank you. And now I pass it back to Colleen.
All right, thanks, Jer. I just want to give a quick update from the communications team. We're excited to launch a new campaign titled Women Who Empower in celebration of International Women's Day and Women's History Month. The campaign launches next Monday, March 8th on International Women's Day, Make sure to check out the stories once they launch, and please feel free to share them as well. We're excited to feature several outstanding women who are leading efforts at our gateways and centers, but stay tuned because this really will be a part of an ongoing campaign. And what's wonderful about this campaign is that Costanza in Rome is working with us to create the content, create the stories. And really this is part of a larger initiative to function more as a global comms team. And the Global Town Hall is the perfect example of that. We're really excited to bring in other people into our extended communications team. Specifically though, right now I want to thank Tom and Gemma in London for producing and editing the videos that will be featured today. And moving forward, we want to work with all of you, tapping into your talent to help us create more dynamic and valuable content for the global network. And thank you to all the participants for today's live headline. That wraps up this section. And next, we're going to head into the feature section, starting with a quick video of all of the wonderful virtual events across the global network. Let's take a look.
Hello, everyone. During the first 2 weeks of December, an Agile team devoted to the topic of sustainability was sponsored by Father Bob Dowd from the leadership team. Our team was facilitated by Joe Burns, who sadly is no longer working with NDI, and included team members from a variety of global gateways and centers, as well as Caitlin Jacobs from the Office of Sustainability on the main campus. Joe, Laura, John, Reagan, Mike, Caitlin, and I used resources like the university's sustainability strategy goals, Laudato Si, the Pope's encyclical on care for our common home, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals to inform our work and research. Ultimately, we realized 2 weeks wasn't enough time to develop comprehensive recommendations, especially since the circumstances of our locales around the world differ so much in terms of sustainability. Instead, we needed to do some basic research, identify some of the challenges and opportunities based on our own experiences, and offer some recommendations for how NDI might move forward. We used 5 principles that guide the Notre Dame Sustainability Strategy goals, which are highlighted in the column on the left. And on the right, you can see examples of ways NDI can increase our sustainability efforts along each of these principles. Some of these, like questions of licensing and procurement, require the university to modify existing policies that would allow for stationery or business cards to be printed in London, for example, rather than being printed in the US and then shipped to Conway Hall. Some require us to develop and enhance local partnerships to increase our sustainability awareness and engage our study abroad students in learning opportunities that may help curb some of their own behaviors with an outsized environmental impact. For instance, our calculations suggest that in 2019, our 74 study abroad programs contributed over 9 million pounds of carbon dioxide, which only includes flights to and from their programs, not any additional travels students may have undertaken. With such an established global footprint, it's imperative that NDI acts in an environmentally responsible way, furthering its mission to be a global force for good. More information will likely be coming from the leadership team, including a template our Agile team developed to help each gateway and center reflect on sustainability in their local community. But we invite everyone to begin thinking about what changes we can take as individuals and as an organization to continue our important work in global education while promoting sustainability. Next, I'd like to pass it off to Gemma in London, where they created 6 different Agile teams within their gateway. Gemma?
Hello from Lockdown London. Back in the summer, the whole London staff held a virtual Zoom retreat that resulted in great project ideas being shared, and we created 6 Agile teams to tackle each topic and start putting those ideas in practice. So far, 4 teams have already convened over 2-week Agile sprints, and the work of each team has resulted in thoughtful plans mapping the direction that we're going to take going forward in each area. Our internal communications group was the first Agile team to meet before the winter holidays, to find ways to streamline our internal comms and improve the effectiveness of our communication, not only in terms of our typical working day, but also to help camaraderie up while working from home and during the transition back into the office, and ensure that the way we communicate is not only easy and accessible to everyone in the office, but fun as well. The next group was the faculty and curriculum team, which collaborated over 2 sprints to look at our ability to provide innovative opportunities for both students and faculty, in line with the NDI strategic plan. Through review of current provisions, further research and feedback gathered from both faculty and London alumni, we were able to develop a number of new resources, including a diversity, equity, and inclusion document, revised faculty onboarding processes, including a best practice workshop, and a proposal for encouraging and supporting more student immersion within our existing London courses. In January, the prospective student engagement team researched best practices in engaging future students, and having reviewed our own current strategies against these, put forth some recommendations for action with the aim to better understand the student journey from first interest to enrollment, and created new materials to more effectively promote the London programme to potential students, with special attention towards encouraging and supporting minority students to participate in study abroad. Next, the digital programming team worked on developing a strategy and framework for hosting a variety of online events, with the aim of promoting visibility of the ND brand within the academic community and general public in the UK, but also of providing opportunities for the involvement of faculty and helping to strengthen the relationships between faculty colleagues in London, on campus, and in other global locations through digital event collaborations. Over the next few weeks, the 2 remaining teams should launch, covering the topics of partnership and outreach and internships and immersive learning. So more news to come. We hope this has perhaps sparked some ideas for you, and thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. NDI is delighted to continue a cherished partnership with the enrollment division for the Virtual Global Scholars Program. This program connects the global expertise and network of NDI's faculty with globally minded and intellectually engaged high school students from the United States and all over the world. NDI's gateways are also partnering with the enrollment division to help recruit students from around the world. Many colleagues on campus and across the global network made invaluable contributions to launching, developing, and offering this program. Now let's hear from Curtis Urban from the Office of Pre-College Programs, and 2 faculty, Professor Chiara Spadorni from the Rome Global Gateway and Professor Lois Oliver from the London Global Gateway.
Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis Urban. I am the International Programs Director for the Office of Pre-College Programs at the University of Notre Dame. I'm thrilled to talk with you today a little bit about Global Scholars. It's a kind of fantastic collaboration between our offices that introduces high school students to the amazing resource of the Notre Dame international community. The program started last fall. Father Jim Lease recognized kind of a unique opportunity to offer high school students classes with the kind of renowned faculty of the Global Gateways, faculty that are otherwise usually pretty busy. But with Father Jim's help, Jonathan Noble, Amber Lee, Lisa Caulfield, kind of all of the renowned faculty, but especially Alice Terrell, who for my money is a saint. Without her, this could not have happened. She did an absolutely incredible job. We were really able to put together an awesome program. End of the day, we enrolled 200 students, high achieving high school sophomores and juniors, into 10 online courses. Rave reviews. The students really appreciate these opportunities to expand their minds and kind of go beyond the normal classroom. Because of the success, we're trying again this spring. We're having 13 classes from Ireland, London, Rome, Latin America, across different time zones as well. We're trying to make it truly a global scholars program, incorporate more of the international community. We're really looking forward to seeing how that goes. Program set to begin mid-March. It's just been a wonderful collaboration on our end. NDI has been an amazing office to work with. I think it comes at a really critical time too, when students, especially high school students, are having limited opportunities and are seemingly living in a more insular, isolated world. It's just great to have this chance to expand their minds and open their horizons. But we couldn't have done it without the faculty, so let me introduce you to two of them now. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, I'm Chiara Sbordoni and my field is medieval Italian literature. Since 2017, I have been on the faculty of the Notre Dame Global Gateway. Our foundational course is called All Roads Lead to Rome, and it is a history of the Eternal City through its architecture, the fine arts, literature, and contemporary issues such as globalization and immigration. The course is highly interdisciplinary, and it is mainly taught on site, providing a concrete experience of the city and its heritage. The Rome Gateway has had a collaboration with the Office of Pre-College Programs since 2016, which has at present shifted online. Within the Pre-College Global Scholars Program, I have the privilege to teach When in Rome, Landmarks of the Eternal City, a course tailored to prospective students of Notre Dame. Each of the 6 weeks of the program is dedicated to a landmark of Rome, such as the Colosseum, Piazza Navona, or the Jewish Quarter, and includes virtual live tours of Roman neighborhoods and their monuments. The response of the first class in the fall was enthusiastic, and I was impressed with the intellectual maturity of such young students.
Well, it has been tremendously exciting this year to be part of this new program, Global Scholars, for the pre-college students. It's also been really exciting to have the opportunity to work with them on a course that really engages with the experiences that everyone has been going through over the past 12 months. The course that I am teaching is called Art, COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter, the Global View from London. It has been such a pleasure to work on this programme. Curtis and his team have been tremendously professional, incredibly supportive. And for me, although it's tremendously sad that we don't have students actually on site in London at the moment, I would say that one of the silver linings of this has been a real new sense of connection with the home campus. I think what's been really exciting about teaching this age group, age 16 and 17, is that they are so alert to everything that is happening. And the impact on their lives over the last 12 months has been extraordinary. And actually one of the wonderful things about Global Scholars was that it brought them together in a space where, although we were online, they could actually talk to each other as well as engaging directly with me. And many of the conversations that were sparked were so intense and inspiring. These young people have the most open and sophisticated way of talking about really quite challenging themes. They produced extraordinary work. And one student, she said in a breakout room to others in the group, something incredibly wise. She said, art can be the most effective way to convey a message when people aren't yet ready to listen.
Curtis, Chiara, and Lois are with us today, so it would be wonderful if you could join me in thanking our fabulous faculty from NDI for all of their work with us, and especially for the Global Scholars Program, and also thank Curtis for his important role for developing this program with Notre Dame International and for our shared vision and partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, everybody again. I believe this topic will be something familiar to many of you in this call today, but I'm here to talk about the Virtual Global Professional Experience Program. So for those of you who don't know, let me introduce this program to you. Among the many disruptions of the pandemic, two were particularly disappointing for students. They were unable to travel and study abroad, and many lost or failed to secure internships during the summer. In collaboration with the Winter Session Committee and the Q School of Global Affairs, many of us from Notre Dame International gathered together to offer students a virtual program during the winter break in hopes we could provide students both a professional as well as a cultural experience during their extended break. The result was the Virtual Global Professional Experience, or as we affectionately call it, the VGPE. So for this program, we were able to place 92 students in 13 different countries. This was only possible through the tireless efforts of our Global Gateway and Center staff, who in very short notice activated their local contacts and secured positions for students in a variety of fields with a variety of interests and goals in mind. Indeed, the sheer number and diversity of positions was something to behold. We were able to offer our students internships in technology firms such as Caixin Media in China, local governments like the municipality of Huejotzingo in Mexico, as well as positions in law firms, hospitals, NGOs, universities, financial service firms, and others all over the globe. This was a monumental task and one done with the intention to innovate and adapt to the digitalization and globalization of our world. It could not have been possible without the collaboration between all of us. I want to thank all of my colleagues who alongside me have helped recruiting, file reading, outreach, orientation, and everything else in between to ensure the quality of this program. And now we do want to dive a little deeper into two particular programs. So let's listen in as Raj in Mumbai and Lisette in Mexico interview a few of their students to get their perspective on the program.
So hi, everyone. Welcome to our discussion on the VGPE. As many of you know, the VGPE program ran over the winter break. And here in India, we had 16 students across 6 different organizations. One of our students is joining us today. Her name is Stella Cho.
I participated in the VGPE program with Cooper Hospital in Mumbai, India over this past winter break.
So Stella, now that you are a graduate of the VGPE program, can you tell us a bit about your experience, what you learned, and also the benefits that you've gained from this program for us?
Definitely. So the VGPE program took part in like 2 different parts. One was with the internship and working virtually with like a company or an organization abroad. And the other part was the class. And I thought both parts were very valuable, especially because I found out more through the class about how to make myself professional and be able to present myself in different career competencies. And in the actual internship, I was able to put that to use.
So from what I've heard back from Cooper Hospital, you did get to have your name on a published research paper. How does that feel? And how did you go about getting yourself involved in so deeply with the hospital?
Yeah, at first it was definitely an honor because what we mostly did was write up literature reviews for their papers. So for example, there was a paper on uterine inversion. Most of the doctors at Cooper Hospital that we worked with were gynecologists. So they were mostly case studies about gynecology or the female reproductive system as well. Both papers were really interesting to work with. And what we had to do on our end was find literature, pre-existing published literature on these topics and present them as a compiled data to the doctors. So mostly what I spent my time doing during the internship was find a bunch of research papers, read them through, and then compile the information and present it to the doctors. And they would be able to use this as like past reference for their own papers. And this was really rewarding. And we didn't think that like they'd put our names on the paper, but it was really, really rewarding to see the final product being published.
Lovely. Sounds like you had a great experience. Any last words for our team here at NDI?
I think this was just a great experience overall. And with the pandemic going on, there's so many factors that are unknown and up in the air, especially for pre-medical students like myself. It's a little bit difficult to get some of that clinical experience that we normally get, or even volunteering at the hospital. But this was really a valuable experience because it showed us a completely different side of medicine that we normally don't get to get in touch with by being so close with the doctors, although virtually.
Thank you, Diraj, for all the information, and thank you for the student for the participation. So now I would like to share with you the experience in Mexico. So I have invited a student, Rahul Lobo, and I am so happy to welcome him. I would like to know how was his experience. But before that, I would like to introduce you to the program. We were working with a community here very close to Puebla, and we were working with the municipal government. And they were so happy to host us, and the coordinators were so nice with the students. But I think that it would be better if you can hear firsthand by a student how was the experience. So hi, Rahul.
Hi there, Lisa. And just before I launch into the program, I'll just give a quick introduction of myself. So yeah, my name is Rahul Lobo. I'm a junior here studying economics and political science. I'm from Goa on the west coast of India, but I grew up in the Middle East. And I chose this program because I had visited Puebla during a spring break with an economics class, conducting research there on immigration, and desperately wanted to return in any way, shape, or form that I could. So gladly, I accepted this sort of virtual experience where I could intern with the municipal government of Huejotzingo and really work on my Spanish skills and build on some more of that professional development that I think all of us are looking for at this early stage in our career. My role in particular was to act almost as a public sector consultant and help livestock farmers, or as they're referred to in Mexico, tablajeros, and help them compete with large supermarkets, also known as carnicerias. So my job was essentially to write out a detailed business plan over the next 5 years as to how these livestock farmers could better their product, better their sort of profit margins, and really help their community out when it comes to competing with the bigger players nationwide.
I had the opportunity to listen to you when you were talking with the coordinators, and at the same time, I had the opportunity to listen your final presentation, who was wonderful. So I would like now to ask you if you can say something to the international office, to the international people at Notre Dame, how, I don't know, the recommendations or things that you have in mind about this program.
First of all, Lisa, I appreciate you saying all those nice things about me. And yeah, it was absolutely wonderful being able to practice my Spanish and really almost virtually be back in a country that I've really grown to love. I appreciate the work that our Notre Dame international staff does, and behind the scenes that we don't really see much of. So Lisa, you in particular, thank you so much for all the WhatsApp messages of encouragement, for the communication that you had with us before, during, and after, and for sitting through what I'm sure was a pretty long final presentation.
Oh, thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much.
Great. So just to wrap up a little bit, those are amazing interviews, and it's so nice to hear the student perspective. And I'm mindful that in study abroad, we actually get to hear a lot of their student perspective, but for other teams, once the students are gone from the program, it might be a little bit hard, to actually hear from them again. So it's so nice to actually see the impact directly from those, impacted by it. And if you're interested in hearing more stories about this program, Study Abroad actually has a podcast, Beyond Study Abroad, available on iTunes and Spotify, and also on our website. with more stories from students directly. So I highly recommend all of you to check that out. And now we'll move to the Insider, followed by Recognize NDI.
Hi Diane, I just want to say thank you for all the help on all the projects we've collaborated on, both recent and further afield in the past. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and your work, both unseen and seen, does not go unnoticed. And I can't wait to work on the next one.
Victoria, you've gone far and beyond the job description in supporting and further developing our Arabic language course that we're currently offering to the State Department. Victoria does not only excel in liaising with our dear and demanding program participants, our 5 instructors and multiple guest speakers, she has also mastered the different tools. She ensures our materials are in the best format. She facilitates the course web page, and of course masters our Zoom world. Vicky, thank you very much. We would have been lost without you.
So I would like to take this opportunity in the time that we have left to do a couple of things. First, to thank you to all of our presenters, both in the video format and live on today's call. I'd also like to take this opportunity, if there are questions for our guests about the work that they have done with our students or with you, or if you have questions about their experiences in the different programs that they discussed, I would open the floor up for you to ask them, because it is a treat to have, as I mentioned, all 3 of them here, Kiara, Lois, and Curtis. And I want to thank them as well again, now that we're out of the video format, for their incredible work with our students. So, questions or comments about any of the material, and I mean this as an open conversation with one another, not mediated through me. So if you have a question, please use the raise your hand function or just unmute and ask. Okay.
I'll just make one comment, which is really nothing other than I ran the London program for many years, and it was very nice to finally see Lois after all the wonderful comments that I have heard about her over the years from many, many students, including students whose opinions I respect enormously. And in the way you presented on your experiences today, Lois, I really understood why. I loved the way you spoke about your experiences with the pre-college program. And it was just very nice for me to meet you virtually finally after all those years. My name is Geraldine Meehan, and I no longer am engaged with study abroad, but it was very, very nice to meet you virtually and to hear you reflect on your experiences in such an authentic way. Very nice. Thank you.
Geraldine, that's very kind of you. It was a particular pleasure for me to work with a new cohort with these very bright teenagers, hopefully the undergraduates of the future. But I have to say, my real hope is that one day they will be inspired to travel, to see the global possibilities, and perhaps I might even get to teach some of them in person in London in a few years.
Yeah. But, I have had experiences with, art history majors in the past. So I know that you, your expertise and you reach out just across the whole breadth of students, whether it would be those who are the merely curious or those for whom it's their sort of field or desired field of expertise. So very nice to hear your reflections. So thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to say, Curtis, that I'm Thais. I'd like to say to Curtis that I'm really happy that we have this collaboration project with the pre-college. I know of a Brazilian student that has enrolled in the program and is really excited of participating in this program. So it's really nice, to have these opportunities to high school students. Thank you.
Thanks, Thais, and good to meet you. Yeah, we've really kind of branched out internationally for the spring semester, which I think is really exciting. Over a third of the students are going to be international for this upcoming program. So I think truly encapsulating what we want in terms of global scholars bringing together as community, and just kind of going along with what was said earlier. My hope is that these students participate in this program. They participate in our pre-college study abroad programs in the summer, and then eventually they come to Notre Dame and become kind of an integral part of the NDI network. So it's just been an amazing win-win. I know sometimes we say things are win-win, but I think it really has been in terms of kind of bringing really high achieving students to Notre Dame's network and introducing them to the amazing resources that you guys offer. So just been an incredible program for us.
I'd like to echo what Alice just put in the chat in terms of thanking everyone around the globe, in addition, of course, to Curtis and everyone involved on campus in terms of getting the word out and trying to recruit and expose this great program to high school students around the world. I'm curious if there are particular best practices on that front that you have seen, Curtis, or others around the globe for future efforts in terms of exposing this type of program to high school students.
Yeah, I'll hop in on that, and then anyone else who has more kind of international expertise can jump in. We found, particularly for kind of the programs like Global Scholars, working through the high schools has been our kind of best approach. Counselors are our best friends in the pre-college world. It's when they reach out to the students that the students kind of see this as an incredible opportunity. We also utilize the recruitment network of the undergraduate admissions, which is hundreds of thousands of students. But sometimes I'm sure there's a bit of email fatigue on the part of these students when that's our kind of main campaign for recruitment. So anytime we can work with high schools, kind of develop those connections, it's the counselors who really make the program what it is.
I might just say I'm grateful to have Kiara and Lois and Curtis here, as much as anything, to see the good work that's happening in NDI all over the world. I am always in awe as we gather in this way, the reporting of each of the global centers and gateways, and how much good work is happening. And so I think I see it through slightly different eyes when we have guests with us who get to see that in its newest form. We're all somewhat aware within NDI of what's going on, but I'm always in awe even at that. So welcome to our guests, and congrats to everybody for all the good work you're doing all over the place. It's amazing.
I would want to add to that. Thank you, Father Jim, and all who have spoken in this section. I do want to say, and it struck me as I was watching Kiara's video in particular, as someone who studied abroad as an undergraduate, I remember standing under frescoes and paintings and in public buildings, and knowing what those professors brought to me and how that transformed my life, and to see that we're passing that on to these students through the work of professors like Kiara or Lois, and that we're preparing students through the work we're doing with Curtis, is very humbling. And I think it's really a privilege, and I appreciate everyone's work on it, and especially the faculty's dedication to educating the students wherever they're at in their life journey, no matter what their skill level is, to try and open up a new world to them. I think that's a real gift. The other thing I would want to say in closing is that when I think about what we've talked about today and shared with one another, there are a couple of themes that come to mind. One is the theme of innovation. We've been creating new programs. We've been working as Agile teams to reinvent how we work with one another, how we present Notre Dame to the wider world. And that's quite a gift. We've also talked a lot today about sustainability, both in particular when we think about environmentalism and sustainability and what we're called to do and how we need to pivot to that, but also how do we sustain and nourish ourselves and one another. You heard the London team talk about how do we continue to keep up our morale, and how do we continue to work together to make work fun and to make work meaningful. And I think that that's just as important of a dimension of sustainability as how do we cut down that 90 million pounds of carbon dioxide that our students are participating in emitting into the air through their travel. The last thing I'll say is that I think we're also today talking about the theme of resilience. As the vaccine gets rolled out in different parts of the world, we're getting ever closer to a post-pandemic landscape where we might very well be able to gather in person again. I see Rome together in the auditorium, and it makes me so envious, Rome. You're so lucky to be gathered together. It may not feel that way given how many seats are in between all of you, but we're looking at the future when we see you gathered together, because we don't have that luxury here in South Bend or in other parts of the world yet. So as we think about our resilience, let us keep our heads held high, and let's continue on the path of creativity and working together to come out of the pandemic stronger than we were before, and that we continue to serve our students and faculty and one another in a way that befits Notre Dame and advances us forward to become an ever more global university. Please stay safe, stay healthy, continue to be watching the newsletters, the videos, the things that go out. I have to say, I feel like I'm counting down the days until Robert Black does his dancing in the next couple of weeks. Robert, do you want to give us any sort of teaser or preview before I wrap it up here?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, Michael, but please feel free to join us on St. Patrick's Day in 2 Wednesdays, 2 weeks from today. We'll be talking a little bit about the history of Irish dance, and then we'll be getting into some practical lessons over Zoom. So fun will be had by all. There's no better way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So please all, more than welcome.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Robert. I would just say that let's continue to be in touch and be well and have a great day, evening or night, wherever you are. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well done.
Who's the last to leave?